Hello and welcome. I'm Nathan Newbrough, the CEO of the Colorado Springs Philharmonic, joined by my partner and friend, Josep Caballé-Domenech, our music director.
Hello, welcome.
We are joined today at the Penrose House, this beautiful place, part of El Pomar Foundation. And of course, this is our 90th anniversary, and this season we will be celebrating El Pomar Foundation and their trustees in our gala dinner that happens February 23rd. We think it's so appropriate because El Pomar Foundation has been with us through the decades, and in this 90th anniversary, we want to celebrate great music and great support for terrific music in our community. So, thank you to El Pomar Foundation. We're here today to talk about Brahms' yes. Second Symphony.
Brahms' Second Symphony. One of the, I wouldn't say the most popular symphonies, but you know, it has some characteristics that I think it makes this piece very, very, very interesting. Some people say it's like the pastoral symphony of Brahms. I don't really agree on that. So, you know, I don't think there is a pastoral. I think there is only one pastoral, that's the Beethoven one, you know, and that's a big one, and you know, it should keep like that. In the case of Brahms, it's very interesting because actually he wrote at some point that was the saddest music he ever wrote, and you know, talking that about Brahms, it means a lot. Yeah. And actually, the symphony doesn't sound like sad at all. On the contrary, for me, it's very jovial. It's very like. Looking to life, you know, it's interesting the way he used the orchestra. It has one particularity that I think it's very interesting to point out. It's that obviously Brahms follows the classical structure, you know, for movements. First it's like the sonata form, very big one. The last one is the quick one, and then the middle ones are the scherzo and the adagio. Actually, the adagio and the scherzo in this order. But he writes the first movement in 3/4. So which for a classical symphony it's not, you know, I mean Mozart did a few of the symphonies but not many of them, so usually it's 4/4 or binary. In this case he does it in 3, and actually the whole symphony becomes kind of a very slow dance, or can become kind of a slow dance. And then if you try to imagine that he wanted that as a set, it's like, you know, a very sad, slow dance that really develops and that really goes and tells you a message. I think it's a very, for me, I feel it's a very difficult symphony and very interesting because it's Brahms very nude, you know, where you really have to look for him.
Yeah. Yeah, and Brahms as a composer was probably the most cerebral and put everything he had into these works. And so talk to us about what it's like as a conductor or as a member of the orchestra to approach one of the Brahms symphonies.
It's very interesting because actually when you look into the first symphony, he took 18 years to compose it. And you know, when you get the score, you don't have 18 years to learn it, but you know, you have the whole life. But you try to understand what's behind that. Then this piece, he wrote it in 3 months, basically. And when you see it, it's like, okay, he knew what he was doing, but the complexity of the piece is exactly the same as the first one.
Right.
It's just, you know, in a different way, but it's the same complex harmonies, the same complex instrumentation, the same complex counterpoint. So actually when you get into the score and you try to imagine what's he trying to tell you, that's a very hard work of imagination. And it's like, you know, trying to get a little bit, you know, lower and lower and lower and more deeper and deeper. And I think that's what makes Brahms so interesting, you know. And then obviously Brahms is a figure that you cannot just study a piece. You know, you don't get a piece and say, oh, that's my piece, that's fine. I mean, you have to study really his work, and you have to see Brahms' music in the totality of his work.
The entire spectrum.
In the entire spectrum, you know, he was a fantastic choir composer. His songs are fantastic, and his chamber music is just amazing. And you have to really feel all this kind of music when you are approaching one of his symphonies, because actually you feel and you find all these different approaches into the symphonies, and I think that's what makes Brahms very complex but very rewarding, because it has its own sound, and I think that's important.
That is an important difference. So many other composers, and I won't name names, but what is on the page is what you get, right? And that's right. You understand it.
You try to go a little bit deep, but you know, but there is not much you can do.
Right. But with Brahms, there's so much more material there beneath the surface.
Yeah. It's a long history, you know. I mean, someone who waited more than 40 years to do his first symphony, and then suddenly he wrote a second, and which is a total different world than the first. You know, it's like, okay, this person knows what he's doing. So.
That's right. That's right. Well, we hope that you'll join us for this performance of Brahms' Second Symphony with the Colorado Springs Philharmonic. You know, if you want to know more about the Philharmonic, you can find us on the web at csphilharmonic.org. Go to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, lots of other places. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.